So there's the big fight this weekend. It's a massive one. The biggest fight of Anthony Joshua's life when he rematches Andy Ruiz Jr. for all but one of the heavyweight world titles. You looking forward to this one, Brad?
Yeah, it's going to be quite good because I saw the first match and Joshua just seemed to be not ready. I don't think he was ready for.
Yeah, I thought he looked dead nervous.
Yeah,
real. Like I was in the casino at 3 a.m. because it was one in America.
Yeah,
and I had a bit to drink, but even I noticed he looks nervous. He doesn't look like cocky, confident AJ. No. Like when he came out to Stormzy to knock out Dillian White, he looked like a destroyer, a confident. No nerves, nothing, like a machine.
Yeah.
But for Ruiz, he looked dead nervous.
Yeah.
But I have to elaborate on that point. That's not the first time I've noticed Anthony Joshua being nervous in a fight. No. I thought he looked dead nervous before when the fight started against Vladimir Klitschko.
Yeah.
Now he won that fight, but at the start he was throwing fuck all, and if Klitschko was moving all over him, he was feinting, he was moving head movement, he was using head movement, he was using his footwork, he was more active in there, and Joshua was just sort of, he was doing little to nothing, and I think that was because he was nervous. Joshua has come out and spoken about panic attacks and things like that. Yeah. Now, not to knock that at all, but coming into this rematch, you don't want to be having any questions about your confidence or your mental state.
I think with the Klitschko fight though, Joshua, he talks so big in like the press conference. He talks so big because it's Joshua. Everyone knows what he's like.
Yeah.
But I think when it came to that entrance, you could see it in his eyes. You could see he realised.
To be fair to him, also with that entrance was ridiculous. It was like 10 minutes long. I mean, if he was nervous just walking to the ring, he had to stand up on a big podium and then come down from the fire behind him and then get in the ring with a guy who had something like 40 or more fights than him. And if you include amateur, it's more like 100 fights or so. I saw some stats when the fights. I got to give credit to Joshua. I will come across like a bit of a Joshua hater on this podcast episode, but I will give him his credit. Excuse me. I remember seeing a stat at the start of the fight when they showed the graphics.
Yeah.
And it was something ridiculous like Klitschko, rounds boxed, professional, something like 100 and something. And Joshua, because he'd knocked them all out early, it wasn't even over 50, I don't think. It was crazy. And then when you add amateur fights, it's even more so. So for him to get in there when he was really nervous and he had a crap start against, although he was older, but one of the best heavyweights of the past 25 years.
Yeah,
it's a hell of an accomplishment. And he got knocked down in that fight, didn't he?
Yeah.
He took a shot and a half.
I think with his mental state there, I think that kind of woke him up though, to be honest. I think that shot from Klitschko kind of woke Joshua up a little bit.
A little bit, yeah. But I also feel like Klitschko didn't get on him. I feel like if Ruiz catches him at any point in the fight, just like the last fight, in the way that Klitschko did, I think he gets him out of there. Yeah. I think Klitschko, like I said, not taking anything away from the win, but facts are facts. Klitschko was 41 years old. People rag on Luis Ortiz for being old.
Yeah.
Klitschko was 41 years old, and he'd not fought since he got humiliated by Tyson Fury.
Yeah.
You know, when Tyson Fury was flicking the jab and feinting and using footwork and fighting dirty and just being so awkward in there, and he talked all this trash in the build-up and he just fucked Klitschko about.
Yeah.
And then Klitschko comes back in as a 41-year-old man to fight AJ, and he loses. Because people need to remember, Klitschko was not the favourite for that fight.
No.
He was not the bookie's favourite. I mean, it wasn't a wide margin. People didn't disrespect Klitschko like that. In fact, I've got to be honest, I had Klitschko to win. I knew fuck all about boxing back then. Well, I knew a little bit. I'd done a bit of research, but I remember seeing things like the rounds, the amount of rounds that they boxed in comparison, the amount of knockouts Klitschko had gotten, all these sort of stats. And then also at the start of the fight, and I was like, oh, Klitschko's Klitschko's going to win this. He's going to derail this hype train,
Yeah.
unfortunately. And it's going to be heartbreak for all Joshua's groupies, his female groupies.
Yeah.
Lucky lady, he's not a bad-looking kid, is he?
No,
You've got to be honest.
He's a very big man as well, Joshua. He's a very big man.
Yeah. His fans and also the kids that look up to him. I think even if it's a fake persona, which people have said a lot about, and I think it can be quite fake, like media trained and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
How many kids he's inspiring, it's a beautiful thing, it really is.
I think with Joshua jumping over to another ship, he's a bit like McGregor, really. He reminds me a lot of Conor McGregor. Like, so confident when he wants to be, but can also back it up.
But Anthony Joshua would never hit an old man the way Conor did. But anyways, that's a topic for another time.
Yeah, that's a topic
We've got the McGregor and Cerrone prediction next month.
Yeah.
Anyways, back to the Klitschko fight.
Yeah, let's do it.
Klitschko didn't get on him, and he still... I watched the fight back a couple of days ago on Sky Sports Boxing YouTube, and Klitschko hit him with some good shots, even after knocking him down, but Joshua stayed in there, and he was throwing back, but that said, that fight also revealed something else. It does take Joshua a while to recover after getting knocked down. I noticed it in the White fight, the Povetkin fight, the Ruiz fight, definitely.
Oh, yeah.
When he got hit in the equilibrium, whether it was a lucky punch from the gods...
Yeah, I like that he keeps describing it as that.
Yeah, or a well-timed punch that was probably practiced in training camp for when Joshua leaves himself exposed. Because Ruiz has the faster hands.
Yeah.
I knew that before the fight started.
I think Ruiz is faster, but Joshua's got a bit more power behind him. He's got a bit more...
We'll talk about that in a bit.
Yeah.
Anyways. Yeah, when Joshua gets hurt, even if he doesn't get knocked down or it doesn't look like he got that hurt, he takes a while to recover. And Joshua has trouble with his cardio in general, his 12-round boxing cardio as it is. And when he gets hurt, it seems like it gets even worse. Because, yes, credit to him for surviving... knocking down Klitschko 2-3 rounds later, but the round or two after he got knocked down by Klitschko, just like the White fight, just like most of these fights, he did even less than at the start of the fight. All he could do was hold and have the referee do a bit of... It's not even dodgy business, but they did do him favours, certainly.
Yeah.
And he got the win in the end, but that is a weakness of Joshua. He's not like Tyson Fury. I know someone's going to see this video and think, you're a Tyson Fury fanboy, you'd never criticise him. But I'm just critiquing their boxing ability and their other skills as athletes. And Tyson Fury, he has been knocked down by Steve Cunningham. Now, Steve Cunningham was a cruiserweight.
Yeah.
And he wasn't no David Hay. He was a quality fighter though. He got knocked down by him, but he was right up. And then after that knockdown, he just came for Cunningham's head and he actually knocked him out.
Yeah.
People say Fury has no power. Watch the knockout against Steve Cunningham. It was brutal. But more importantly, so when my man T Fury, when he got knocked down against Deontay Wilder in the 12th round. And he got up like the fucking Undertaker, and then he didn't even fight really all defensive for the rest of the round. He knew that he could have got screwed in the first place, and now he's been knocked down. He had to go for it. So I remember watching it. I didn't watch that fight live, but I remember watching it, thinking, "Oh my god, he's coming at Wilder now with full power shots, coming at him like a defensive fighter, and he still was moving his hands and doing all that sort of stuff. It was crazy. Joshua could never do that.
Oh no."
Especially not when the panic would set in of it being in the 12th round in another country and him knowing that he'll be behind on the scorecards. I think if Joshua had got knocked down like that against Deontay Wilder, I think Deontay Wilder would have stopped him 10 seconds later.
Yeah.
I just got to be honest. I just have to be honest. But Tyson Fury, he's just a different breed, isn't he? He came back from his mental health struggles and...
He's a different monster.
Yeah. He's an inspiring figure in his own right, but maybe not so much for the kids, which makes perfect sense. But he came up from his mental health struggles, his alcohol and substance addictions. Yeah. He's just a legend, and I think Tyson Fury beats all the heavyweights of nowadays, including Joshua.
Yeah.
But that's a video for another time. Yeah. But he doesn't have that ability like Tyson Fury.
Nah. He
doesn't. He also doesn't really, which is crazy because Joshua is built like a Greek Adonis, Like if people that are sexually attracted to him would say, what's the perfect male physique? Probably be Joshua.
Yeah.
But it's not very functional for boxing. It wouldn't be very functional for MMA either. Because Tyson Fury, over 12 rounds, is fitter than Anthony Joshua.
Oh, yeah.
Which is crazy. Dillian Whyte is probably fitter than Anthony Joshua, over 12 rounds. No, that is mental. Yeah. That is genuinely. And honestly, Andy Ruiz is fitter over 12 rounds.
Yeah.
But getting back to that, Joshua's, I think most boxing fans will have seen that Joshua's trying to get leaner, or there's been rumours about it. Now, that's a good idea, but the problem with that is he's only had 6 months or so. It's not enough time to adapt to his body changing. I think if he comes in as lean as he's been rumoured against Ruiz, I think he's going to tire even quicker.
Yeah.
It's a hard fight for Joshua. It's a hard night. I don't want to be a dick, but honestly, the people that... And I'm not disrespecting them really at all. I just understand that their lack of knowledge. I mean, I was like them 2 years ago when Joshua fought Klitschko, 3 years ago. But the ones that honestly think, and they don't put a reason, they think Joshua will get revenge in 2 rounds, destroying Ruiz. They're in for a big shock. Even if Joshua wins and Ruiz catches him, goes to the body, figures him out, because Joshua's not that hard to figure out.
No.
In all honesty. No, really, I'm going to come across like a Joshua hater. I don't. The lad's more of a man than I'll ever be. He's a warrior. He proved that in the Klitschko fight. He started boxing late. That's even more admirable. He turned his life around from making some bad mistakes, some criminal charges. When we're young, none of us are perfect. And he was hanging around the wrong sort of crowd. But he got that record, and he went into a boxing gym. And obviously the natural athletic talent, because he's obviously an athletically gifted lad, Jesus Christ, to be that big. Most lads that are 6'6" are really awkward. And I've always been crap at sports, but most lads that are 6'6" are really awkward moving. That's why Tyson Fury stands out as well.
Yeah.
But the way he moves and the way he's learnt the sport as quick as he has, it's very impressive. Yeah. So taking nothing away from Joshua, but as a boxer, he has major flaws. I always thought he had little to no head movement, and Klitschko was doing that in the fight. It's crazy to think that the 28-year-old who's challenging the 41-year-old man who's been out the ring for a year, is the 41-year-old is more active on his feet and with his feints and with his head movement than the younger man. Yeah, that's ridiculous.
You think it'd be vice versa?
Yeah, it's crazy, and. It's not even like I expect Joshua to have the best head movement in the world, because Tyson Fury does have the best head movement in the world currently, for example. But now I'm not going to come across like a Tyson Fury fanboy. Tyson Fury, compared to all-time greats, some of his boxing skill isn't that special.
No.
But anyways, yeah, little to no head movement. I even noticed it in the Brazil fight. I was like, he's not moving his head. He's dominating this guy. But he could make it so much easier for himself. Lack of foot movement, which these things, head movement and foot movement, I'm no expert. But from what I gather, foot movement and head movement are the hardest things to learn.
Oh, yeah.
They're very difficult to learn. And he came into boxing late. He didn't start boxing at 10 years old, like Andy Ruiz, for example. Or flipping 6 years old, like Floyd Mayweather Jr. So it's understandable, and you'd almost expect him to have limited head movement and limited footwork. But also, he does amateur things, I tell you. I was watching, again, I'm no expert by any means, but I was watching the Takam fight, and he was doing things in that fight against, it seems like a pattern with Joshua. He was fighting another old man who was never the fighter that Klitschko was. He was much shorter, stocky, yes, but much smaller. Like Joshua, it was expected he would make easy work of Takam. I mean, Takam's tough and all, but there's levels to this game.
Yeah.
I think Deontay Wilde would knock out Carlos Takam within 3 rounds or so.
I'd say about 2 or 3 rounds.
Yeah, and Takam is, for example, is a better pure boxer than Deontay Wilder. Yeah. No disrespect. But he just would. His finishing ability would get him out of there. He's too vulnerable. He's too slow. He's too old. All sorts. But either way, he was boxing Takam and in the Parker fight. Parker fight and Takam is the ones I want to focus on.
Yeah.
And he won those fights. And people that even know boxing, trainers and stuff like that, and other YouTube channels that I respect, they thought the Parker win was good. I didn't. I genuinely didn't. I thought, and not because it was a boring fight, even though it was. I thought it wasn't that impressive a win, because he got so much help by the referee. The refereeing in that fight was disgraceful. Parker would tie up just a little bit, and the referee would break up right away. But Joshua would tie up, and he'd get 5 or 10 seconds or so to get his rest back. But in those fights, as well as that, he would... So maybe there's a vulnerability to inside fighting, to the body, which I do think there is.
Yeah.
But he would do amateur things, like the type of stuff I do. I do a bit of boxing, and you do as well.
Yeah.
We're both shit at the moment. No doubt. We're not deluded enough to think that we're anything other than that.
I've dropped a few.
But I do things like... Same here. I do things like I'll put my hand out, or I'll just try and sort of grab when I'm in trouble. And that is so amateur. And if he does... Not just that. I don't do this, but... Against Takam and against Park, he was getting right in close, but he still has that like a head movement. He's just relying on being the bully in there. And if he does that sort of stuff against Ruiz, he'll get taken out of in 4 rounds. And I know it may be a shock to people, but genuinely, if he does those sort of habits regularly against Andy Ruiz, with the faster hands, who's figured Joshua out, who's beaten before, who has the confidence, who has the chin, some chin that Ruiz has, and the heart of a lion, he'll stop Joshua within 4 rounds.
I think if like watching some of the stuff that Joshua says and does, if he has changed the way he fights, he changes the way he's training. If that's what he'd need to do, because as soon as he comes out of that,
and in 6 months
out of that gate, Ruiz is gonna know what he's like. All Joshua has to do is throw a punch, and I guarantee you, he will know how Joshua fights. And I think once he capitalises on that, and once he starts throwing again, Joshua's done for.
6 months. Not even that, probably.
No.
6 months to learn how to box completely different.
Yeah.
Basically, from some of the things I've heard, it sounds like he wants to box a bit like Tyson Fury. That's not happening. Genuinely. I've watched enough back of Joshua's fights. I've listened to enough experts on it who I respect their opinions way more than myself or anyone else who isn't a former world champion or world-class trainer. That's not happening within 6 months. Probably not ever. Huh. But there are things Joshua can do. Yeah. He can fight more like the Parker fight. Not the negative aspects, but keep it long. Use his length and height advantage.
Aye.
Be patient. Don't underestimate Ruiz and try and get him out there early like he did last time. If he hurts him, he can't go in wild again. He went in wild and exposed. Joshua and his team and his fans can take comfort in the fact that he was winning those first couple of rounds, and then he dropped Ruiz with it was a left hook. Yeah, it was a good shot. I don't know. With that shot, come to think of it, because I'm just trying to think how good Ruiz's chin is. With that shot, no, probably would have knocked out some of the other big boys in the top five. Yeah. It was a good shot, but that shows how good Ruiz's chin is. And he got up and he said a prayer. He genuinely did as well. And when Joshua came in cocky, too confident, but also probably still a bit nervous and exposed, Ruiz clipped him with his faster hands. And he knocked him down with a lucky punch from the gods. I don't know about that. But either way, when he hit him with that shot, the fight was over. Joshua couldn't recover. But Joshua can do that. He can take confidence in the fact that he was winning the fight. He did hit him with a hard shot that knocked him down. And had he been more patient, who knows? Maybe he would have started to become more confident within the fight, and he would have broke Ruiz down and stopped him later. But coming in exposed like that, you can't be doing that.
No.
Joshua also needs to take confidence in the fact that it's his show. He's the cash cow. You compared him with Conor McGregor, he is literally like the 6'6" black version of Conor McGregor, but from the UK and for British boxing. He is the cash cow. He brings in hundreds of millions.
No,
so if you think some Canelo fights are a bit dodgy, his fight's going to be just as dodgy. I expect reffing just like the Parker fight, probably worse. Yeah. Like Joshua can be confident that he can lean on Ruiz and be a bit dirty, like Klitschko did in some fights.
Yeah.
He can hit when they break, which he did against Parker a bit, and Takam, and Klitschko. Is boxing though, so of course, what do you expect?
Yeah. Anything to get the upper hand.
Yeah. He also hit Klitschko when he went down. Yeah. I mean, funnily enough, there was those two fucking YouTubers that had their fight, but Joshua hit him. Joshua did something similar to Klitschko. He actually did, but no point deduction, no warning. But I guess Joshua really is a powerhouse within the media and just the business of boxing, which he is. If it goes to decision, I don't think there's any chance that Ruiz wins. I think Ruiz could win every round and batter Joshua, and Joshua could hold on for dear life and survive till 12, and Ruiz ain't getting a decision. He ain't getting the belts.
No.
It's worse than a Canelo fight. It actually is.
I think with me though, I think what I could do if you were in like Joshua's shoes, to be honest, I think what he should do is keep his reach.
Yes,
because he is
that advantage.
He is a big boy, and if he tires out, if he gets him tired out in the early rounds towards the later rounds, I think Joshua keeps his energy, keeps his stamina up, try and avoid the big hits, and just let loose once he's tired.
I can see that, but I think I've already mentioned. I think Ruiz has better 12-round cardio, and I think Joshua will get tired in this fight, even if he has a very low work rate throughout the fight, and he just keeps him off him with the jab, clinching, fighting so boring. But I think he'll still get tired because he knows that Ruiz can beat him. He'll be nervous.
Yeah.
His cardio won't have got any better because it's only been 6 months, even if he has slimmed down. So I think either way he gets tired in this fight. But that doesn't mean he loses the fight. Because Joshua can also be confident with, we talked about dodgy business. There might be... Do you remember when Deontay Wilder fought Luis Ortiz the first time?
Yes.
Well, there was that disgraceful part of the fight where the doctor came in and gave him a good 10, 20, 30 seconds rest and recovery when Luis Ortiz had him hurt. Well, that's Deontay Wilder. No disrespect to the Bronze Bomber. He's a very exciting fighter, but he's nowhere near the cash cow anywhere that Joshua is in general. So I can see that sort of stuff happening. But I don't just want to say, because I don't think the only way Joshua can win is by having it all on his side and it's practically rigged. No, Joshua's a quality fighter. And Ruiz has flaws. Yeah. Ruiz has little head movement. On the inside, it's a bit different. He was avoiding those hooks, and I noticed it in the Parker fight, Andy Ruiz's fight with Joseph Parker. He was avoiding the hooks and going under, and he did a good job. But he lacks head movement, so he's quite a stationary target. Although Ruiz has fast hands, he does not have fast feet. No. He's no Mike Tyson. He's not going to get in there so quick that you can't even react properly. No, he has quite slow feet. He's a plodder. So Joshua can take advantage of that. Joshua probably has better footwork.
Yeah.
And he can move around the ring for 12 rounds and box a safety first points decision or maybe get a late stoppage.
Yeah. He's a big man, but he's quick. Yeah. That's the best thing about Joshua. He's a big man, but he's quick. Yeah. It's his flaws, but it also has a perk for him as well. And he's got the power. But as you were saying, yourself...
100%.
With Ruiz, his speed and the way he punches, I think... I've got Ruiz for the fight easily.
Okay.
But I think later round knockout, I think, for Ruiz.
Well, who knows? We both might be wrong.
Yeah.
And Joshua... we said how he looked a bit off mentally. He might have been off performance-wise in general in that fight. Well, if that's the case, maybe a leaner, new and improved Joshua, who's more focused because he's lost now, and he's not just focused on Deontay Wilder and Tyson Fury. No. Maybe he'll come in and he'll prove us all wrong, and he'll destroy Ruiz, and he'll get him out there easy. That would be mental. But it's possible.
In their face-to-face thing they were having, the gloves off, the face-to-face, Joshua seemed too quiet. He seemed too caged in a little bit. So I think he's nervous, but either that or he's hiding something.
Yeah.
He's hiding the secret confidence that he's got. I think it'll be a good fight.
I do think he is quite nervous. I watched those face to face. I watched the face to face at the press conference as well as the sit down. I've watched some interviews. I've seen him be nervous in other fights.
Yeah.
And I'll be curious to see how he looks at the weigh-in tonight.
Yeah.
But given that, and I'm not going off his body language or if he looked nervous or not, I see Ruiz getting him out of there within 6 rounds. Not destroying him, but figuring him out. Joshua being nervous again. I think Ruiz might just be Joshua's boogeyman. Yeah. A fighter who's shorter, because he believe it or not, Joshua's had a harder time with shorter fighters than taller fighters.
Yeah.
With Takam and Parker, and even Dillian White, and obviously Ruiz, who beat him.
Yeah.
Who handed him his first loss. He's his nightmare matchup because he's shorter, he's got faster hand, he's got a chin made of granite, he's got that Mexican heart, that stereotypical Mexican heart, and he's got the confidence now of already beating him.
Yeah.
Because I could see Joshua being ahead, boxing a really boring fight. Also, maybe a bit of help from the referee, as in he can excessively clinch and all sorts that we talked about. But even if not, in boxing a really boring fight, being ahead on the cards, not just with biased judges, but in general, but unlike Joseph Parker or unlike Klitschko, Ruiz will come for his head around the 10th round.
Oh yeah.
I mean, he'll have already figured him out by then. But like we said, you can figure out Ruiz. He's not an all-time great, or at least he hasn't proved it. He'll figure them out, and if it gets to the 10th round, and he realises that Joshua's just going to fight safety first all night, he's going to come for his head and risk getting knocked out. Now, Ruiz could get knocked out in doing that, or he could stop Joshua, who I do believe, even if Joshua boxes his most low-volume fight possible, a very easy on-the-body fight, I do believe he'll still get tired because naturally that lactic acid and also him being nervous. And when Ruiz puts him on him, it'll be interesting. There is one more thing I wanted to mention. There is a chance. We mentioned how Ruiz has a chin of granite and the heart of an absolute lion. But there is a chance that Joshua hurts Ruiz and there's an early stoppage. Like there were complaints about with the Takam fight. I watched that fight a day or two ago. And that stoppage was pretty dodgy.
Yeah.
I can see people being outraged, really annoyed if Ruiz gets stopped like that, because it wasn't like he was getting brutalised. He didn't even get knocked down. He was just getting hit a bit in the clinch. And he had been beat up throughout the fight, but still. But also, do you remember when Carl Froch got out of his beating with George Groves, the first fight? And I'm going way back now.
Yeah.
But
I don't think I remember it fully.
Okay, well, that did happen.
Yeah.
George Groves was battering Carl Froch for the majority of the fight. I think it was it a 7 or 8 rounder? Yeah. And then Carl Froch had another warrior. He had a comeback, and he started to get him against the ropes, and he was hitting him. And he hurt him a bit, but I mean, he hurt him a decent bit. It could be argued that he should have been stopped for Groves' safety, especially as a young fighter at the time. But the stoppage was considered a joke.
Yeah.
I remember talking to my dad about it being young. I really knew nothing about boxing back then. And he said, that stoppage was very dodgy. And I'd like to see them rematch. Well, I can see it's the same promotion. Matchroom, Eddie Hearn, in Britain. Cash cow Carl Froch, much bigger cash cow. No disrespect to Carl Froch. Much bigger cash cow to Carl Froch than he ever was in Anthony Joshua. I mean, Anthony Joshua is the biggest cash cow British combat sports has ever seen. Easily. I mean, there was Nazim Hamid, but he doesn't get the love that Joshua gets. No. He wasn't around when the internet was about. So Joshua's our biggest star ever. So if that can happen with Carl Froch, in a fight where there's not hundreds of millions on the line for all the people involved, why can't it happen for Anthony Joshua? Just saying.
Yeah.
But my final prediction... But like I said, my final prediction is that Ruiz stops within 6 rounds.
Yeah.
Either that, or if Joshua wins, I could see him